In episode 5 of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage, the show takes a deep dive into the emotional intricacies of a family Thanksgiving, right after the passing of George Sr. It's a pivotal moment, with both humor and heartache blending together as the Mallister and Cooper families try to navigate their first major holiday without him. This episode balances the comedy we've come to expect from young Sheldon's spin-off while exploring some genuinely heartfelt moments of grief and healing. The central theme of this episode revolves around Georgie stepping into his father's shoes. We see him attempt to take on the responsibilities that George Sr. once held, but it's clear that the family doesn't quite see him in that light yet. He's grappling with the loss of his father, trying to figure out how to be a support system for his family while still mourning the loss of the person who meant so much to him. Mandy, though, takes a more assertive role in guiding Georgie. She steps in where Georgie struggles, especially when it comes to handling the Coopers. It's clear that she's the one holding things together and taking charge. She's got the life experience and the social awareness to navigate these complex family dynamics, and in a way, she's not afraid to do whatever it takes to give Georgie the Thanksgiving he needs, even if that means dealing with the tough members of the family. Mandys influence is evident when she convinces both Mimi and Dale to come along, and even manages to get Missy to agree to let her watch as she gets a tattoo. But Mary, of course, is the most difficult to persuade. The tension between Mary and Jim is palpable, especially when Audrey and Jim start arguing over how many drinks he's had. The argument brings up so much for Mary. It reminds her of her own marriage with George. It's not just the easy moments she misses, but those heated exchanges too. There's a profound realization here. Grief isn't just about missing the good times, but also about longing for the moments that once irritated you. When Mary can't handle the tension between Audrey and Jim, she leaves abruptly, but Georgie, noticing something's wrong, follows her. He learns that it's not just the argument that unsettled her, but the realization that, despite the pain and the flaws, she misses the moments with George, even the tough ones. The episode also shows how the family comes together in the face of loss. Georgie, Missy, and Mandy all gather around George Sr.'s grave for a quiet Thanksgiving picnic, and even though it may seem odd to some, this is their way of honoring the family patriarch. It's an intimate, bittersweet moment that ties everything together, that despite the grief, they're still finding ways to move forward, to create new traditions in honor of the old ones. Behind the scenes, Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage gives us a special look at the larger Young Sheldon universe. Cast members from Young Sheldon, including Ian Armitage, who plays Sheldon, have been visiting the set. It's clear that the transition from single-camera to multi-camera filming for this spin-off has added new layers of pressure, but it's also brought the two shows closer together. The cast and crew of Young Sheldon are showing up in support, even in episodes where they don't have a direct role. This unity behind the scenes only makes the story we see on screen feel more genuine and connected. In the Cooper house, there's a focus on Mary's grief. We see that her emotions and actions towards Sheldon are different from how she treats Georgie and Missy. Mary's softer spot for Sheldon, as seen in both Young Sheldon and The Big Bang Theory, continues here, and it's a reminder of how family dynamics shift when someone is gone. It also gives us a more in-depth view of life in the Cooper house when George, Sheldon, and Georgie aren't around. Missy, of course, brings her usual rebellious charm into the mix. She demands that Mandy take her to get a tattoo, and it's a fun moment that plays into her character's defiant nature. And though it's all in good fun, you can already tell that Mandy might pay the price for keeping her word in an upcoming episode. So, what do we learn from this episode? It's not just about surviving the holidays after a loss. It's about finding ways to honor the past while embracing new realities. It's about accepting that grief isn't always about missing the good times, but also about longing for those difficult moments, the ones that once seemed trivial but are now irreplaceable. This episode of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage captures the raw, emotional truth of what it means to go through a major family holiday after a loss, and it balances that with enough humor to keep things from getting too heavy. It's an episode that reminds us that no matter how tough things get, family is what holds us together, even in the strangest of ways. If you enjoyed this breakdown of episode 5, don't forget to like, share,